Namaste friends. Today I will talk about a conjunction that is coming up soon, a problematic conjunction. It is the conjunction of Mars and Rahu. What we mean by that is that Mars and Rahu are very close to each other. And it happens once every year, year and a half or so, year and a half or 2 years. And this year it happens from July 20 till August 14. And the exact conjunction when Mars and Rahu are exactly at the same position, same longitude, is on August 1st of this year. Let us see what Mars and Rahu show so that we can assess what their coming together represents. Mars personifies the initiative within us, the drive to do things, the fire in the belly. That is why he also shows the fire element. And as you can guess, based on the association with fire, he stands for aggression, fighting, dynamism, etc. And when it's slightly negative, he also shows rashness, hastiness, etc. He also shows among people police, military, and that kind of people. People who are warriors or fighters, who have some fighting ability. And Rahu, he personifies the greed and machinations within us. He basically stands for getting things at any cost, whatever you want, getting it somehow or the other, by hook or crook, possibly by breaking rules. That is what Rahu stands for. He also shows mafia, shady deals, covert operations, etc. He is basically airy in nature, and he specifically shows poisonous or uncomfortable air. So that is what Rahu shows. And a slight esoteric note here. Rahu shows greed and getting things at any cost, whereas Ketu, he's the other half, the demon who was cut into two halves after he consumed the Amrita, the nectar, by Vishnu. One part is Rahu, one part is Ketu. Ketu shows moksha, detachment, not really wanting anything at all. And Rahu is the other opposite, the other extreme, wanting things and getting them at any cost. So these are the two extremes. And by the way, some people may wonder who are Rahu Ketu. They are not really planets in the sky, because we know Sun, he is the star around which Earth moves. Moon is the satellite of Earth, and others, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, these are actual planets, grahas. So who are Rahu and Ketu? They are, according to Shastras, Chaya Grahas, which means shadows, shadowy planets. They are not real physical objects, but they are abstract points. And the way they are defined in our Shastras is, if you take the orbit in which Earth is going around Sun, the elliptical orbit, and then suppose Earth is here, there is an orbit around Earth in which Moon is going around Earth, right? So those two orbits are not in the same plane, and they are slightly tilted. So there are 2 points where those two orbits are intersecting. So those 2 points are defined as Rahu and Ketu. And esoterically, Sun shows the Atma, the soul, the Astitva, the very sense of being within us. So basically there are three aspects that define us: Astitva, Bhoktrutva, Kartrutva. Being, experiencing, and doing, acting. These are the triparts of life: being, experiencing, and doing. That is what life is all about. And being is shown by Sun, experiencing is shown by Moon, and acting is shown by Lagna, which is basically Earth, because it is based on the Earth's position, Earth's angle. So Sun, Moon, and Lagna are important in a horoscope. Similarly, Sun, Moon, and Earth. So Moon is going around Earth, so experiences are going around acting, and acting is going around your being, and basically the intersection of those. That is how basically Rahu and Ketu stand for getting things at any cost, or not really caring for things. So what is the importance of this conjunction? So as we saw, one is fire, the other is poisonous air. So their coming together is not really auspicious at all. We earlier talked about Mars-Saturn conjunction. I think it was around that time that Ukraine became really big. Things became unstable in Europe. So that is problematic. That is also fire and air coming together. But Rahu is even worse. Rahu is poisonous air. So Mars-Rahu conjunction can be explosive in nature. It causes fiery volatility in the world, and this is not really a desirable conjunction. But of course, take it with a pinch of salt. It's not that every year and a half really terrible things happen. So it's not necessary that this results in bad things, but this has potential. If bad things are have a probability of 1/1,000,000 at a normal time, they have a probability of 1/1,000 at a time like this. So it is 1,000 times more likely, still not guaranteed. Similarly, for individuals also, it may result in some bad things or it may not. But it's good to take precautions. It can also cause military aggressions and covert operations, sometimes possibly misled or based on confusions. So it can cause confusions, hasty decisions, etc. And it can cause events that have that bring long-lasting suffering. So this is basically a problematic conjunction. By God's grace, nothing terrible will happen, but there is a potential for that. Just to give a few examples of things that happened that were triggered by Mars-Rahu conjunction in the past, in our recent history, Holocaust, the killing of so many Jews, the main Warsaw ghetto where Holocaust happened, where I believe hundreds of thousands of Jews were killed, or maybe tens of thousands. The main Warsaw ghetto was established in October 1940, very close to, actually during the Mars-Rahu conjunction, very close to the exact conjunction. And similarly, in September 1945, when there was a Mars-Rahu conjunction, Korea was partitioned. Russia, USSR took control of the northern part, and then US went into the southern part and took control, and basically, practically, Korea was partitioned into North Korea and South Korea. So that happened during Mars-Rahu conjunction. For individuals, this conjunction can trigger any sensitive points in some charts. Suppose in your chart, around, by the way, the conjunction occurs around 25 degrees of Aries. So around that longitude, within 5 degrees, if you have any sensitive points in your horoscope, either in the Rasi chart or in some divisional charts, this conjunction can cause problems. It can cause anger, confused and rash decisions, frustration, etc. And of course, the exact nature of the result can be dependent on which sensitive points are being triggered. What is the role played by those points, those planets or houses in the chart. So it is tough to generalize, but it has the potential to cause problems to individuals also. And depending on the 8th house being involved, 6th or 8th houses being involved, accidents and some major setbacks are also possible. So please take precautions, especially if your 8th house or moon or sun, or the 8th house from sun, 8th house from moon, or lagna, if one of or some sensitive planet in your horoscope, for example 8th lord, 6th lord, if some key position in your natal horoscope is being triggered by this combination, that's a problem. This is what I mentioned in a previous video. Mrs. Srimati Nupu Sarma's chart, Rahu is almost exactly, basically within a fraction of a degree from the, he's around 25 degrees of Aries, and he's the 6th lord in the 8th house, showing enemies and troubles from enemies, etc. And Mars-Rahu conjunction, and they happen to be 6th and 8th lord in the natal horoscope. So their conjunction very close to that Rahu is very problematic. This is why I was asking people to pray for her safety around this time. And of course, in my own horoscope, my 8th lord Mars is around that position. So this conjunction triggers Mars in my own horoscope. So please pray for me also during this time. Now let us talk about what we can do to make to reduce the negative impact of this conjunction. The best remedies are, if you have time, then do Mars Ashtota Sahasranama Stotram, Angaraka Ashtota Sahasranama Stotram, which is 108 name prayer of Mars. Similarly, for Rahu, you can do 108 name prayer of Rahu. You can do either of them or both of them, depending on which one appeals to you more, or which planet seems more interesting to you, or also depending on your horoscope. You can pick either of them or both of them. And if you want to worship another devata to take care of them together, you can do Subrahmanya Ashtakam, which is a very nice prayer of Lord Kartikeya. You can also do Mantraja Padastotram of Narasimha. There is a mantra, there is a big prayer called Mantraja Padastotram, and there is a small mantra that is taken from the first word of each verse, and that mantra, that simple mantra, is very powerful. It's called Mantraja Narasimha mantra. So you can do that also. So I will chant those now. And of course, you can also do the simple mantras given for Mars and Rahu in the Navagraha Stotram by Vedavyasa. Let me chant those mantras, and you can chant these yourself, or you can play this video, come to the respective points and listen to these now and then during this period, because Shastras say that Sravanam, listening, is as effective as Pathanam, as you yourself chanting. As a matter of fact, if somebody chants mechanically with mind somewhere else, and somebody else is listening attentively to that sound, and his mind is on the sound and on the God, the one who's listening may get more punya from that than the one who's actually chanting. So let me chant all these mantras now. For Mars first, the simple mantra. Om Dharani Garbha Sambhutam Vidyut Kanti Samaprabham Kumaram Sekti Hastam Tam Mangalam Pranamamyaham. There is another mantra for Mars, especially if somebody is having some debts and problems from debts, not just monetary debts, but monetary debts, karmic debts, all kinds of debts. This mantra can be used. Om Angaraka Mahiputra Bhagavan Bhaktavatsala Namostute Mamashesha Ranamashu Vimochaya. Next, the simple mantra of Rahu by Vedavyasa. Om Ardhakayam Mahaviryam Chandraditya Vimardanam Simhika Garbha Sambhutam Tam Rahum Pranamamyaham. Now, the mantra, the Narasimha mantra that I mentioned, mantra of Lord Narasimha, this is actually, in tradition, this is supposed to be kept secret. Basically, there is a big prayer. The first word in each verse is Ugram, Viram, Mahavishtum, Jvalantam, like that. The mantra is not given in together in the Shastras. It is basically derived from the first word of each verse in another mantra, another shloka, and we are supposed to keep it secret. But I hope I'm forgiven if this is a mistake. But this is a very nice mantra, and I like this mantra, and I know some people who benefited from it, so I'll just chant it. Oh, this is especially if you expect any accidents or health problems or death-like suffering during this transit. This can help you avoid that or minimize that. Om Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jvalantam Sarvato Mukham Narasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mratyam Namamyaham. Now we will chant the 108 name prayers of Mars and Rahu, and before that Subrahmanya Ashtakam. So you can find those. You can go to stotranidhi.com and click on Devanagari. Stotranidhi.com, that's the website. There are a lot of websites. I just picked this website today. For Navagraha Stotras, you go Navagraha Stotrani and pick whichever you want, Mars and Rahu. For Subrahmanya Ashtakam, go to Subrahmanya Stotrani, Komaram. It's also given in English, so you can use that also. I'll pick, because this is what I am comfortable with, I'll pick this. Subrahmanya Ashtakam, where is it? I thought I found it here in the past. Subrahmanya Ashtakam, Kravalamba Stotram. हे स्वामिनाथ करुणाकर दीनबन्धो श्रीपार्वतीशमुखपङ्कजपद्मबन्धो श्रीशादिदेव गणपूजितपादपद्मा वल्लीशनाथ मम देहि करावलम्बम् देवादिदेवनुतदेव गणाधिनाथ देवेन्द्रवन्द्य मुदुपङ्कजमञ्जुपाद देवर्षिनारदमुनीन्द्रसुगीतकीर्ते वल्लीशनाथ मम देहि करावलम्बम् नित्यान्नदाननिरताखिलरोगहारिन् तस्मात् प्रदानपरिपूरितभक्तकाम श्रुत्यागमप्रणववाच्य निजस्वरूप वल्लीशनाथ मम देहि करावलम्बम् क्रौञ्चासुरेन्द्रपरिखण्डनशक्तिशूल पाशादिशस्त्रपरिमण्डितदिव्यपाणे श्रीकुण्डलीशधुततुण्डशिखीन्द्रवाह वल्लीशनाथ मम देहि करावलम्बम् देवादिदेवरथमण्डलमध्यवेद्य देवेन्द्रपीठनगरं दृढचापहस्तम् शूरं निहत्य सुरकोटिभिरीड्यमान वल्लीशनाथ मम देहि करावलम्बम् हारादिरत्नमणियुक्तकिरीटहार केयूरकुण्डललसत्कवचाभिराम हे वीरतारकजयामरवृन्दवञ्ज वल्लीशनाथ मम देहि करावलम्बम् पञ्चाक्षरादिमनुमन्त्रितगाङ्गतोयैः पञ्चामृतैः प्रमुदितेन्द्रमुखैर्मुनीन्द्रैः पट्टाभिषिक्तहरियुक्तपरासनाथ वल्लीशनाथ मम देहि करावलम्बम् श्रीकार्तिकेयकरुणामृतपूर्णदृष्ट्या कामादिरोगकलुषीकृतदुष्टचित्तम् सिक्त्वा तु मामवकलाधरकान्तिकान्त्या वल्लीशनाथ मम देहि करावलम्बम् सुब्रह्मण्याष्टकं पुण्यं ये पठन्ति द्विजोत्तमाः ते सर्वे मुक्तिमायान्ति सुब्रह्मण्यप्रसादतः सुब्रह्मण्याष्टकमिदं प्रातः उत्थाय यः पठेत् कोटिजन्मकृतं पापं तत्क्षणादेव नश्यति इति श्री सुब्रह्मण्याष्टकम् We'll do Angaraka Ashtottara Nama Stotram. Om Mahisuto Mahabhago Mangalo Mangalapradaha Mahaviro Mahashuro Mahabalaparakramaha महारौद्रो महाभद्रो माननीयो दयाकरः मानदोमर्षणः क्रूरस्तापपापविवर्जितः सुप्रतीपस्सुताम्राक्षः सुब्रह्मण्यः सुखप्रदः वक्रस्तम्भादिगमनो वरेण्यो वरदः सुखी वीरभद्रो विरूपाक्षो विदूरस्थो विभावसुः नक्षत्रचक्रसञ्चारी क्षत्रपः क्षात्रवर्जितः क्षयवृद्धिविनिर्मुक्तो क्षयवृद्धिविनिर्मुक्तः क्षमायुक्तो विचक्षणः अक्षीणफलदश्चक्षुर्गोचरशुभलक्षणः वीतरागो वीतभयो विज्वरो विश्वकारणः नक्षत्रराशिसञ्चारो नानाभयनिकृन्तनः कमनीयोदयासारः कनकभूषणः भयघ्नो भव्यफलदो भक्ता भयवरप्रदः शत्रुहन्ता समोपेतः शरणागतपोषकः साहसः सद्गुणाध्यक्षः साधुः समरदुर्जयः दुष्टदूरशिष्टपूज्यः सर्वकष्टनिवारकः दुश्चेष्टावारको दुःखभञ्जनो दुर्धरो हरिः दुःस्वप्नहन्ता दुर्धर्षो दुष्टगर्वविमोचकः भारद्वाजकुलोद्भूतो भूसुतो भव्यभूषणः रक्ताम्बरो रक्तवपुर्भक्तपालनतत्परः चतुर्भुजो गदाधारी मेषवाहोमिताशनः शक्तिशूलधरः शक्तः शस्त्रविद्याविशारदः तार्किकः तामसाधारः तपस्वी ताम्रलोचनः तप्तकाञ्चनसङ्काशो रक्तकिञ्जल्कसन्निभः गोत्राधिदेवो गोमध्यचरो गुणविभूषणः असृगङ्गारको वन्तिदेशाधीशो जनार्दनः सूर्ययाम्यप्रदेशस्थो यौवनो याम्यदिङ्मुखः त्रिकोणमण्डलगतः त्रिदशाधिपसन्नुतः शुचिश्शुचिकरः शूरो शुचिवश्यः शुभावः मेषवृश्चिकराशीशो मेधावीमितभाषणः सुखप्रदः सुरूपाक्षः सर्वाभीष्टफलप्रदः इति श्री अंगारकाष्टोत्रम्. Now, राहु अष्टोत्तर शतनाम स्तोत्रम्. Oh, by the way, one more thing I didn't mention. For Rahu, you can also chant Durga Sapta Shloki. Actually, let me chant it at the end. Om. This is Rahu Ashtotram. Om Shranunamani Rahoscha Saimhikeyo Vidhuntudah Swarasetrustamaschaiva Phani Gargyayanasthatha Suragurnila Sankashascha Chaturbhujah Khadgakhetakadhari cha Varadayakahastakah Shulayudho Meghavarnah Krishnadhvajapatakavan Dakshinashamukharatah तीक्ष्णदंष्ट्रधराय च शूर्पाकारासनस्थश्च गोमेधाभरणप्रियः माषप्रियः कश्यपर्षिनन्दनो भुजगेश्वरः उल्कापातजनिः शूली निधिपः कृष्णसर्पराट् विषज्वालावृतास्योर्धशरीरो जाड्यसम्प्रदः रवीन्दुभीकरश्छाया स्वरूपी कठिनाङ्गकः द्विषश्चक्रश्छेदकोऽथ करालास्यो भयङ्करः क्रूरकर्मातमो रूपः श्यामात्मा नीललोहितः किरीटी नीलवसनः शनिसामन्तवर्त्मगः चाण्डालवर्णोऽथास्व्यर्क्षभवो मेषभवस्तथा शनिवत्फलदः शूरोपसव्यगतिरेव च उपरागकरः हिमांशुच्छुचविः उपरागकरः सूर्यहिमांशुच्छविहारकः नीलपुष्पविहारश्च ग्रहश्रेष्ठोऽष्टमग्रहः कबन्धमात्रदेहश्च यातु धानकुलोद्भवः गोविन्दवरपात्रं च देवजातिप्रविष्टकः क्रूरो घोरस्य निर्मित्रं शुक्रमित्रमगोचरः माने गङ्गास्नानदाता स्वगृहे प्रबलाढ्यकः सद्गृहेऽन्यबलधृच्चतुर्थी स्वगृहेऽन्यबलधृच्च चतुर्थे मातृनाशकः चन्द्रयुक्ते तु चण्डालजन्मसूचक एव तु जन्मसिंहे राज्यदाता महाकायस्तथैव च जन्मकन्या विधुरिपुः मत्तको ज्ञानदश्च सः जन्मकन्या राज्यदाता जन्महानित एव च नवमे पितृहन्ता च पञ्चमे शोकदायकः जूने कळत्रहन्ता च सप्तमे कलहप्रदः षष्ठे वित्तदाता च षष्ठे वित्तप्रदाता च चतुर्थे वैरदायकः नवमे पापदाता च दशमे शोकदायकः आदौ यशः प्रदाता च अन्ते वैरप्रदायकः कालात्मा गोचराचारो धने चास्य ककुत्प्रदः पञ्चमे धृष्णाशृङ्गदः स्वर्भानुर्विबली तथा पञ्चमे घृष्णाशृङ्गदः स्वर्भानुर्विबली तथा महासौख्यप्रदायी च चन्द्रवैरी च शाश्वतः स्वरशत्रुः पापग्रहः शाम्भवः पूज्यकस्तथा पाठीन पूरणश्चाथ पैठीन सकुलोद्भवः दीर्घः कृष्णो शिरः दीर्घः कृष्णो शिरः विष्णुर्नेत्रारिर्देवदानवौ भक्तरक्षो राहुमूर्तिः सर्वाभीष्टफलप्रदः एतद्राहुग्रहस्योक्तं नाम्नाम् अष्टोत्तरं शतं श्रद्धया यो जपेन्नित्यं मुच्यते सर्वसङ्कटात् सर्वसम्पत्करस्तस्य राहुरिष्टफलप्रदायकः इति श्रीराहुष्टोत्तरनामस्तोत्रम्. Probably the same will have it too, but text I'll just chant it. You can basically find text later, and if you want to follow. Oh, it is there. Perfect. Yeah, it actually starts from here. Om. This is also powerful, and another simple mantra of Durga is good for Rahu. Om Hrim Dum Durgayai Namah. Om Hrim Dum Durgayai Namah. Om Hrim Dum Durgayai Namah. Om Jnaninaamapi Chetanksi Devi Bhagavati hi sa Baladakrashya Mohaya Mahamaya Prayachati Durge Smrta Harasi Bhitimasesha Jantoh Swasthai Smrta Matimativa Shubham Dadasi Daridya Dukkha Bhayaharini Katvadanya Sarvopakara Karanaya Sadardra Chitta सर्वमंगलमांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणि नमोस्तुते शरणागतदीनार्तपरित्राणपरायणे सर्वस्यार्तिहरे देवी नारायणि नमोस्तुते सर्वस्वरूपे सर्वेशे सर्वशक्तिसमन्विते भयेभ्यस्त्राहि नो देवी दुर्गे देवी नमोस्तुते रोगानशेषानपहंसि तुष्टा रुष्टा तु कामान् सकलानभीष्टान् त्वामाश्रितानां न विपन्नराणां त्वामाश्रिता ह्याश्रयतां प्रयान्ति सर्वाबाधा प्रशमनं त्रैलोक्यस्याखिलेश्वरि एवमेव त्वया कार्यम् अस्मद्वैरिविनाशनम् अन्तर्वैरिविनाशनम्. ॐ तत्सत्. Try to, like I said, it is not guaranteed that this transit will bring bad results for the world or for everybody, but because it has a potential, it is better to take precautions. So I hope that you all benefit from these prayers and you take also practical precautions apart from prayers, and I hope that you all remain safe and blissful during this slightly challenging period. Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Yavad Bhumandale Sanatana Dharmo Vardhatu. Visheshata Bhartakhande. Amerika Avashe. Tibet Rashtre. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.